A winter's heart. The snow fell in soft, gentle flakes across the quiet city streets. Each snowflake caught the warm glow of the streetlights, creating a magical winter scene that painted the evening in gold and white. The air was crisp and clean, carrying the promise of a peaceful night ahead. James Walker adjusted his dark wool coat as he walked hand in hand with his 6-year-old daughter, Emma. They had just finished their weekly father-daughter dinner at their favorite restaurant downtown. It was their special tradition, something they had been doing every Friday evening since Emma's mother had passed away 2 years ago. Emma's bright eyes sparkled with excitement as she watched the snowflakes dance around them. Her pink winter coat was bundled snugly around her small frame, and her white knitted hat sat perfectly on her blonde curls. She swung their joined hands back and forth, humming a little tune she had learned at school. "Daddy, look how pretty the snow is," Emma said, her voice filled with wonder. "It looks like tiny stars falling from the sky." James smiled down at his daughter, his heart warming at her innocent observation. "You're absolutely right, sweetheart. It does look magical tonight." As they approached the small park near their home, Emma suddenly stopped walking. Her small hand tugged on James's sleeve, and she pointed toward a bench near the park's entrance. "Daddy," she whispered, her voice suddenly serious. "Why is that lady sleeping on the bench? Isn't she cold?" James followed his daughter's gaze and saw a young woman lying on the park bench. She was curled up under a thin, worn blanket, her blonde hair visible beneath a faded red scarf. Even from a distance, James could see she was shivering in the falling snow. The sight made James pause. As a successful businessman, he often passed by homeless individuals in the city, usually offering a quick donation or a kind word before continuing on his way. But something about this moment felt different. Perhaps it was Emma's innocent concern, or perhaps it was the way the woman reminded him of someone vulnerable who needed help. "She must be very cold, Daddy," Emma continued, her young voice filled with genuine worry. "Can we help her? Mommy always told me we should help people when they need it." James felt his chest tighten at the mention of his late wife, Sarah. She had indeed taught Emma about kindness and compassion. It was one of the many beautiful lessons Sarah had left behind for their daughter. "You're right, Emma," James said softly. "Let's go see if she's okay." They approached the bench carefully, not wanting to startle the sleeping woman. As they got closer, James could see she was probably in her mid-20s, with delicate features and clothes that had seen better days. Her breathing was steady but shallow, and her lips had a slight blue tinge from the cold. "Excuse me, miss," James said gently, keeping his voice low and calm. "Are you all right?" The woman stirred slowly, her eyes opening with confusion and a hint of fear. She sat up quickly, pulling the thin blanket tighter around her shoulders. "I'm sorry," she said, her voice hoarse from the cold. "I wasn't bothering anyone. I'll move along." "Please, don't apologize," James said, raising his hand in a peaceful gesture. "We're not asking you to leave. We're just concerned about you being out here in this weather." Emma stepped forward, her small face filled with earnest concern. "Are you hungry, lady? My daddy and I just had dinner, and there's lots of good food at the restaurant." The woman looked down at Emma with surprise, clearly not expecting such kindness from a child. Her eyes softened, and James caught a glimpse of the person she might be under different circumstances. "That's very sweet of you," the woman said to Emma. "But I don't want to be any trouble." "What's your name?" Emma asked with the directness that only children possess. I'm Rachel," the woman replied hesitantly. "I'm Emma, and this is my daddy, James," Emma announced proudly. "Daddy, can Rachel come home with us? She looks really cold, and our house is warm." James felt his heart skip a beat at his daughter's suggestion. He looked at Rachel, who was clearly struggling with the cold and appeared to be in genuine need. Something about her reminded him of the values his wife had instilled in both of them, that everyone deserved dignity and kindness. "Rachel," James said carefully, "I know we're strangers, but if you'd like, you're welcome to come to our house tonight. You can get warm, have a hot meal, and stay until the weather improves." Rachel's eyes filled with tears, and she shook her head. "I couldn't possibly impose on your family like that. You don't even know me. But we know you're cold and need help," Emma said simply. "That's enough, isn't it, Daddy?" James nodded, impressed by his daughter's wisdom. "Emma's right. Sometimes that's all we need to know about someone. After several minutes of gentle persuasion, Rachel finally agreed to come with them. The walk to James's house was quiet but comfortable, with Emma chattering cheerfully about her school and her favorite winter activities. Once they arrived at the warm, welcoming home, James showed Rachel to the guest room and provided her with clean towels and warm clothes. Emma insisted on making hot chocolate for everyone, carefully carrying 3 steaming mugs into the living room where they all sat by the fireplace. As the evening progressed, Rachel slowly began to share her story. She had lost her job a few weeks ago and had been struggling to find work. Without family nearby to help, she had been staying in shelters when possible, but they were often full during the winter months. "I've been looking for work every day," Rachel explained, her hands wrapped around the warm mug. "I have a college degree and experience in marketing, but it's been difficult to get interviews when you don't have a permanent address." James listened thoughtfully. As someone who ran a successful marketing firm, he understood the challenges Rachel was facing. More than that, he recognized her intelligence and determination despite her circumstances. "Would you be interested in working for my company?" James asked. "We've been looking for someone with your background, and I think you might be exactly what we need." Rachel's eyes widened with surprise and hope. "Are you serious?" "Daddy always means what he says," Emma chimed in confidently. Over the following days, Rachel stayed in the guest room while she got back on her feet. She interviewed with James's team and impressed everyone with her skills and work ethic. Within a week, she had a job and was able to find her own apartment. But something beautiful had begun during those first few days. Emma had grown attached to Rachel, and Rachel had brought a warmth and lightness to their home that had been missing since Sarah's passing. Months later, as James watched Rachel and Emma building a snowman in the backyard, he realized that sometimes the greatest gifts come in the most unexpected packages. What had started as a simple act of kindness on a snowy evening had blossomed into something none of them had expected, a new kind of family, built on compassion, trust, and love. Emma ran up to him, her cheeks red from the cold but her eyes sparkling with joy. "Daddy, isn't it wonderful how helping Rachel helped us too?" James smiled, understanding that his young daughter had grasped something profound about the nature of kindness. When we open our hearts to help others, we often discover that we receive far more than we give. The snow continued to fall outside, but inside their home, 3 hearts had found the warmth they had all been searching for.